Hey guys, we're here at Melbourne Global Game Jam 2014 with Ben Britten. Now Ben is the technical director at Tin Man Games, and he's also helping at this game jam using his Unity expertise. How are you, Ben?
Very good.
So why don't you tell us a bit about why you wanted to get involved with Game Jam this year? Have you jammed before?
I've actually not jammed myself, but I've been part of the sort of Melbourne Game Jam scene since the first jam, which I think was 3 or 4 years ago. It's been a while now, and I always come and help out. And because I use Unity a lot, and Unity is a popular engine obviously with the jam, I sort of became a de facto Unity helper guy. So I think this is the first year that I'm sort of an official Unity mentor. So even though it's kind of the same as last year, people are like, hey, how do I do this? And I'm like, I help them out. So
You've got like a title now and like a badge so that everyone just knows straight away.
Well, I don't think they actually know. I think it's on a piece of paper somewhere. It says, I'm the Unity mentor. So we'll see if people figure it out or not.
I'm sure they will,
Yeah.
after enough time.
Yeah.
So why don't you actually tell us a bit about Tin Man Games, because I know that I really love Tin Man Games and the stuff that you guys do, but the viewers at home might not be entirely familiar.
Sure. So Tin Man Games, we do a thing called Game Book Adventures, which is it's like choose your own adventure plus dice. It's like a role playing game you can play. If you can't get your friends together to get a role playing group together, you can grab one of our games. It's like having a DM in your hand, and there's dice rolling, and there's stats, and there's inventory sheets, and there's swords and magic and fantasy and sci-fi, and we've got some romance books, and so we've got an adventure for everybody, hopefully. So the goal with the Tin Man Games game books is sort of to have basically just take you on an adventure, easy, casual, mobile. I guess that's probably a good pitch.
Now, I know that we've got a few Unity users who watch the show. How does Unity factor into Tin Man Games and what you guys put out there?
Well, we use Unity, so we're a full Unity shop now. Our games originally started as iOS native. We since transitioned them all to Unity. So Unity is great because it's quick, it's easy, allows us to be cross-platform because we're on iOS and Android and Mac and PC and soon to be Linux, I think. So, and maybe console, who knows, So Unity gives us all that really easily. We push a button, you just like build for Android, push a button, build for iOS, push a button, build for Mac, push a button, build for PC. So it's great.
Now, the theme's actually a really interesting one this year. I actually really like it. I don't know about you, but I found that the problem with the theme is not that it's too hard to come up with something, it's that you come up with too many things and you have to narrow it down. What do you think of the theme? How does it feel to you?
It's going to be, I'm really excited to, I'm kind of anticipating some really interesting, people coming up with some really crazy things with the perspective and how we see things and how we're going to sort of get that feeling of the sort of like how we see things and how you see things and how the players see things. And I think there's going to be some interesting stuff, I think. So, I mean, just sort of wandering through the halls, listening to people talk about what they're going to build. It's going to be pretty exciting, I think.
So obviously not everyone who comes to a game jam is a programmer or an artistic designer. Some of us are writers. Now, Tin Man Games being very story orientated.
We love the words.
Yes, words are good. Words are so important. What advice would you actually have for someone who's coming to a game jam who wants to write and might feel like they're not necessarily needed? Because I do know that there's a bit of I wouldn't call it a stigma, but there's sort of a feeling that you won't be useful in this sort of situation.
I mean, obviously, I'm kind of biased because I like the words, and I know last year a couple people came and jammed just as writers on Twine and stuff. It was really awesome. We got some really cool games out. But I think it's the same advice I'd give a programmer or an artist. What the 48 hours does is it basically makes you focus your craft, as it were, whether that be writing, programming, whatnot. So even as a writer coming in, I say, right, you need to focus, you need to have a plan for the first, like have your plan ready to go, like have your sort of story outlined by sort of, midnight the first night. You spend most of Saturday sort of fleshing it out, and then you spend Sunday sort of polishing it up. And it's the same advice for a programmer, for an artist, for a designer, for a writer. It's the same thing. And jams are great because they force you to do that. They force you to find the kernels of your ideas and just chop away the chaff. And so with story and character, as you know, as a writer, like these things are hugely important to like find the characters and the plot points and the literary devices and whatnot that are not helping your story at all, that are just extraneous. And in the game jam, because you only have 48 hours to do it, you kill your children, as it were, very quickly. You're like, right, that was a great idea, but it just doesn't work with my story, so you cut it out. And the 48 hours forces you to do that. And I think as a writer, it's actually a really great experience to be forced into that narrow time frame, because it makes you make those choices immediately, and that's something you have to be doing constantly, whether you're writing a 48-hour game jam or you're writing a novel or you're writing a story or a game book or a movie or whatnot. You have to be making those choices all the time. So the 48-hour game jam forces you to do it and helps you make it realize that it's very important, I guess. So I think it's going to be really good.
That is a really cool answer, and I don't actually know how to follow that up. So thank you so much for letting us talk to you, Ben. Enjoy the rest of the jam. I hope everyone asks you really good questions.
Yeah, thanks. Have a great one.
And that was Liz's interview with Ben Britten at the Global Game Jam. John, you actually found out something pretty interesting about him.
Yes, I did. He actually won 2 Academy Awards for something called a Spidey Cam, which is, if you've ever seen the original Spider-Man movies, you see the scenes where Spider-Man's flinging around New York City and it's all like the camera's going everywhere. He invented the rig that makes that possible, where the camera is set in this giant cage and Spider-Man, pulls a cool pose and then the camera just like flies all around him. And that makes Spider-Man look like he's flying through New York City.
I'm just glad they called it Spidey Cam. All right, that's all we have for this week. Check us out on our Facebook and we'll see you next week. Next week on Worldwide Gaming.